Talking about 30 points at stake means lots of football, precious points to be fought for. Our analysis feature for this week's Soccer Chat Match Pack takes us to Nkoloma Stadium, where Green Buffaloes Football Club were hosting Zanaco. Let's have a look at the two selections made by Bilton Kubamsonda Numba Mamba in this game. If you look at the starting lineups, gentlemen, first off, for Bilton Kubamsonda, he went for a conservative 4-3-3 formation with Jack Chira and Oyster Makatambala playing as the defensive cushion, and Mike Kativa, shirt number 14, orange, who was playing as the second striker. Up wide, we had Diamond Chikwekwe and Happy Counter, and he returned faith in a familiar-looking back four of Museka, Adrian Chama, Morgan Kanjolo, and Malani Gondwe. Then Zanaco went for their traditional 4-1-3-2 with Henrietta Nkonko and Solomon Lokwa leading the line. As Boyd Msonda was deployed in the hall. Sonda, Kennedy, and Augustine Mlenga were deployed in the wide areas. The familiar looking back four for both teams of Chongo Chira, Zio Tembo, George Chilufia, and Taongo Wembe. In between the sticks, it was a rare start for Racha Kola. Already there, Bilton has been playing with three midfielders in the central areas, and he came up against the Numba Mamba team that prefers to play with two and play with two strikers.
Yeah, I think it was advantage Green Buffaloes as usual, because you see when you have two top strikers and one is not dropping to go and help out in the midfield, it's very difficult for the midfield to contain the threat. So
when you just looked at the lineups already,
Zanaco versus Nkwazi, it was the same. Just saw okay, the Boyd and the thing. We know Boyd will be going forward, and it will only be Richard in the midfield.
Okay, let's just have a look at the first thing. Zanaco in attack, their west side, but probably their ascendancy, the way buoyant and trying to win this game. Let's just look at the Zanaco attack. So here we go. Zanaco there, playing long. What was happening is that the four forwards now, because it was actually turning out to be a 4-2-4 formation. So you had Kennedy Msonda, the number 9 in red, Henrietta Nkonko, and Solomon Lokwa and Augustine Mlenga taking high default positions. Immediately the ball is with the back line. They're already running onto the edge of the Green Buffaloes defense. So it was 1v1 in the final third. And probably with those long punts forward, as you can see the arrows, when any of the back four get the ball, they're floating it into that space just in front of the 18. And then they were hoping for probably that Boyd Msonda would probably profit from the second ball. But Jack Chiro was a party pooper there. And just look at the deployment of Oyster Makatambala. He was not very far off because he was coming deep. And in the first line of defense, you'd have Jack Chiro babysitting the defense for Green Buffaloes. But Oyster Makatambala would be the first point of call. So before he gets to Jack and gets to that ball, he's got two players to beat. But you also have Happy Count and Diamond Chikweko who are dropping forward. And the tactical discipline of Kativa in this game, dropping and becoming the third man in midfield, third man in central midfield, and the fifth man in midfield as a collective, Vespa.
Yes, if you look at the way Zanaco were attacking with long balls, then you leave the midfielders, they are not playing. You look at Isaac CHANSA, every time he was getting the balls in front of him, which maybe is a striker trying to shield the ball, and then from the midfield you run, you get the ball from there, any breakdown which comes in the midfield. No wonder you could see Kativa shining there in the midfield, because every time CHANSA was running in front, especially when they were scored, because he saw that we are losing this game, and now you could see him losing his position, trying to control the boys. You could try to talk to them. Sometimes they don't listen. I could see him run from the midfield, talk to his number 9, how maybe he could receive the balls. But it was difficult because especially the balls which were coming, like long balls, the better was maybe they start the game. You know how they used to play when they were in the Continental. I'm also surprised to see that the coach, I don't know whether he has changed that system or it's the same system. Because if you look at the way they are attacking, the transition, we can see it, Zite, from the goalkeeper itself to maybe the midfield and the striker.
But fundamental question, before I bring in Dennis, let's look at the Zanaco attack again. And I just want to just pin my question right there. If you look at that one, look, it is Boydum Sonda, the number 21, and then you've got Richard Kasonde. Okay?
Yes.
And the other one is sticking, the other one is trying to run forward. But it's 5v1 first in midfield.
Yes.
It's Chikwekwe, number 24, number 40 Kativa, you've got Jack Chirwa, Oyster Mwakatambala, and you've got Happy Kaunda versus one Boydum Sonda. And the support where it's supposed to come from is Richard Kasonde. But yes, Friday Sam won't stick as well when his team loses the ball. So he's coming down with him.
Yeah.
How was that allowed to happen from a Zanaco perspective?
I think I was watching this game and I was thinking, why can't they allow even the wing backs to come or the wingers to come in the midfield? Because they were outnumbered. Zanaco were outnumbered. This one, Chongo. Is it
Chongo Chiro?
Yeah. He wasn't even controlling the ball. The ball comes, you hit it first time.
Could it be? It could have been part of the game plan. Play it long, because you can say, okay, immediately they float that one. Boyd is trying to run through a sea of green buffaloes' bodies to try to probably get the second ball, which was not happening.
You see, I'll base it on the Nkwazi game. They played the same style, and it was so easy to trap, because okay, they are doing like this. Let's put in someone. They play long, we put it down.
Yes.
Boydum Sonda goes until he was substituted. They brought in Isaac because of experience. I think he brought in some stability, just like the Buffaloes game.
Wow.
They are doing the same thing over and over.
It's a good system, Zite, but you need a player who can hold on to the ball. But if you saw their number 9, the former Lusaka Dynamo,
Kennedy Msonda,
yes, he was losing balls cheaply. As a number 9, that system, it may be a good system, yes, to players who can understand that system with the discipline itself.
But that you were forward.
Yes.
So you need to be fair to Kennedy. Is Kennedy Msonda's strength to receive a flighted ball, put it down, control it, and face the attack? And because if it's a long ball, the defender is seeing both you and the ball. You're just looking at where's the ball is. Because immediately the ball comes, the defender has seen you and he's right next to you.
I've watched that boy, and if you've seen him, he's a sprinter. And sometimes if you know players who can run like that, we had players like former Nkwazi, Godfrey Serepete. That guy used to run. They had also, who is that guy who went to Nkana also? Nkwazi had, I think, 2 good number 11 who used to run. And that guy, if you look at him, he's not a player whom you can maybe like give the ball, hold on to the ball, maybe he can also dribble like we used to do. He needs more of that, maybe to
ball to feet.
Yes, but he's a player who can run. So if they want him to run, let them maybe find a space to like a 1-2. Maybe find a
But
space
but where is the space again?
that space is what we are talking about, because if the midfield can't receive the ball, they are receiving high balls, then you don't expect that guy to maybe run and get you a
You see, I watched that boy, Msonda, from Soccer Dynamos. The boy is good, but the way, I don't know, maybe the way he's playing, Soccer Dynamos used to get the balls in the spaces. He looks for space. Where there's space, they put the ball there.
He runs.
sprints,
he can
yeah.
run. Running, he can.
And he's good. He's very skillful. He will get the ball in that space. He'll take on a defender, put the ball there. No wonder Luchanga was shining too much because of the same
The
ball.
combination. Okay, let's have a look at the GBFC transition into attack. So we've taken stock of what Zanaco were trying to do in an offensive sense, but if you begin to study the GBFC transition attack, you notice this. So the long flighted ball comes. Morgan Kanjolo and Adrian Chama, that area where they're occupying, that was where most of the stimuli was actually coming. And they were winning most of the area balls against Suleiman Lokwa and Henrietta Nkonko. So he gets the ball there, Jack Chirwa. But immediate reaction, he gets the ball and takes it wide, either into Happy Kaunda, the shirt number 50, or Diamond Chikwekwe. But look at the motor movement of Friday Samu. Remember, he was coming down with Kasonde. He was coming down with him in transition. Immediately they win the ball back. He's running diagonal into that space. But look at the distance between, even when he makes that diagonal run, he's probably running into that pocket of space where Zio must begin to deal with him. And he's got the legs over Zio. Perhaps club risky business. 3 times he mistimed his runs and he was caught offside just before he scored.
Yeah.
So, but it also comes back to that little debate, huh? Even in transition, it's the 5 versus the 2. Right behind the 2, you've got Friday Samu. Behind Friday Samu, there's a fragmented back 4. Space.
Yeah, actually, those were the spaces that Green Buffaloes were trying to capitalize on. Because when Zanaco is in attack, Taonga Wembia and Chongo would go forward. So whenever Green Buffaloes got the ball, the transition in attack, they were very quick. They were putting the ball in the spaces, and you know, Zio and George, they are not the quickest.
No, but it also comes back to one little thing, is that immediately the back 4 float the ball high up, okay? Now there's a struggle, is that there are 2 men in midfield ideally, but they are standing one in front of the other one is behind, the other one is in front. Immediately you think Chongo Chira become the 3rd man in midfield, or Taonga Wembe become the 3rd or 4th man. Then you have George and Zio screening. But yeah, those spaces. And if you look at where Diamond Kwekwe and Happy Kaunda were, it was that they were receiving the ball where ideally you should have Taonga or Chongo Chira picking them up.
Site, I was shocked to see the soldiers behaving like that. Then you could see that they want to they want to grab something at the end of the season. You know, the way they played, I was very happy with it. I can't lie. I saw the organization, even from defense in the midfield, and the way they were attacking. Very strong attacks from the midfield itself to the strikers. I think the tactical discipline itself, I think it helped Green Buffaloes even to win that game. Because if you have players who can at least talk to each other, you could see that they were talking to each other. At least the communication between the players themselves and the coach, you gave them a win.
Yeah,
I think
perhaps
talk about the organization. I think Zambia League, Buffaloes are number 1.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, talking about the same Green Buffaloes, I'm also thinking, what could have been the instruction in the Zanaco DNA that Happy Kaunda and Diamond Chukwekwe are receiving the balls in pockets of space, and one of the reasons is that we played a long pass, so there wasn't enough time for Taonga and Chongochere to get high up the pitch to actually bridge that space, that transitional space they actually leave behind.
Yeah, that was the thing. Green Buffaloes, all the time, they had the numerical advantage in the midfield. And you know, when you win the midfield, it means you are controlling everything.
Okay, so let's begin to study GBFC's attack duos as they progressed in the attack. Of course, they played very dynamic football that day. So here's what happens in transition. Now, let's pencil this down, gentlemen. You'd have Kennedy Msonda, Henrietta Nkonko, Suleiman Lokwa, and Augustine Mlenga having a problem of retreating at the speed of the Green Buffaloes attack. So they were actually not getting back. So what then was happening, because Buffaloes would switch play wide into Happy Kaunda or Diamond Chukwekwe and bring it back in the middle. That is the situation you'd have where Oyster Mwakatambala, the shirt number 4, and the shirt number 40, Mike Katiba, would be free in space. And that left Zio Tembo, Richard Kasonde, and actually Umujombo, George Chilufia, trying to deal with Fred de Samu. 3 versus 1. But another interesting point, if you look at the positioning of Boyd Msonda, is that the immediate reaction when they lost the ball and that pass was played wide is that Boyd Msonda would actually chase wide. And when it switched back, there is nobody in central midfield. And look, on the left-hand side of the Green Buffaloes attack, it's 1v1. Diamond Chukwekwe versus Taonga Wembia. And with a bit of space, Green Buffaloes had good technicians. Happy Kaunda, Friday Samu, Mike Kativa, Oyster Mwakatambala, and Diamond Chukwekwe to probably, increase the misery for Zanaco.
I think for a number of games that I've watched Zanaco against other teams, they're depending too much on Boyd Msonda's energy. You watch them, Boyd Msonda would come from the midfield to go and cross the maybe the fullback in the wings. In the process, Boyd would leave either Isaac CHANSA or Richard Kasonde alone in the midfield against 5 Green Buffaloes midfielders.
Anyway, I don't know what your thought is, Vespa. When you look at those duos, and yes, Boyd has got energy, but it's just a matter of time before he tires. Like you diagonal chasing.
Yeah, but if you look at Zanaco, the whole team itself, look at how many games they have played, and the system they also want to use only on the players who are tired. Zite. Sometimes you also look at the games you are playing. I'm sure if he saw this game with Green Buffaloes, I think he could have also changed his system because they went to kill Buffaloes who were already wounded, I'm sure. And the mistakes came in. If you look at the way Buffaloes were playing, because they were playing as a team, receiving of the ball. Most of the players, it was almost to 60% which was good for Buffalo. But for Zanaco, if they continue with that same system, looking at the energy which the players have now, I'm sure he's going to have problems.
Yeah, they've played what, more than 16 games in a period of 2 months, 8 weeks. Like that's an average of 2 games per week. Probably very challenging time for the Zanaco players, physically, mentally, and otherwise. Let's just have a look at another dimension, Zanaco's condensed attack, because it wasn't perhaps long ball in isolation. We can probably look at Zanaco's condensed attack, and you'll notice one thing is that once they win the second ball, which was very rare, and they get the ball into that forward line of 4 that was attacking, you'd have a situation that Green Buffaloes would always have numbers, practically 9 men behind the ball. But look at the positioning now of the back line. That issue we're talking about in midfield, it was 5v2 in midfield, the whole of the midfield. But look at the positioning of the defenders. And just the spaces. Happy Kaunda, and you look at the space where Chongo Chirwa is. Definitely not assisting the attack. You have Taonga Wembia, look at where Diamond is. Diamond is already closing him off. And the worst other thing that was probably happening to Zanaco today is that in the absence of Ernest Mbewe, it was Augustine Lenga who tuck in quite all right. And you'd have Kennedy also trying to tuck in quite all right. But the fullbacks are not coming.
I think on this one, it happened too much after the first half. In the second half, I don't know, maybe those were the instructions. Taonga and Chongo stopped going forward. They wanted to hold the line, the back line, giving Green Buffaloes more space. Yeah, to defend and to start attacking, because Zanaco didn't have much numbers in attack.
All right, let's just look at one variable, the Zanaco's defensive recovery, because after they make their condensed attack, if you look at them now recovering to where they ought to be when they need to be. Kennedy Msonda, number 9. Konko, 32. Lokwa, Augustine, number 22. Look at how much space they're leaving for Oyster Mwakatambala and Jack Chira. Now, it was Mike Katima and Oyster Mwakatambala, or Jack Chira and Oyster Mwakatambala, almost making an obtuse triangle of the 4-3-3 there in midfield. And yes, as they push up, immediately Zanaco lose the ball, they try to pump it long, and those two are ready to win the second ball again. Defensive recovery. Now, I'm just thinking, demands. I saw Augustine tracking back against Algeria, meaning it's possible for him to drop back. I'm not so sure about Kennedy Msonda, traditional center forward, Vespa. Asking him to track back.
The dropping itself, Zite, you also look at if I'm dropping down, which is my position. If I lose the ball and if I have the ball, what am I doing with the ball when I win the ball, when I lose the ball? So some of these players, you find that when he loses the ball, he also forgets that he still has the ball. Because when you lose the ball, it's not that that's the end. Having the ball is to mark and get back that ball. But if you look at our players, sometimes they make mistakes and you just say, then others
starts
will start
walking back.
Yes.
But anyway, perhaps we can look back at that slide again. Zanaco's defensive recovery, because, okay, yes, we are saying the wingers should drop. But another fundamental issue that I want us to discuss is that Solomon Lokwa and Nkonko were actually playing square.
Yeah, typical.
But now, I'm just thinking, number 10, you want Boyd to play 10 and 8 at the same time,
yeah.
And you play with 2 number 9.
Typical Zanaco play. Modern play, the two, is it Suleiman and Konko. One has to drop down to go and help out in the midfield, so that you make 3 plus the 2 wide midfield players, you make 5. It was not happening.
The diamond itself.
Yeah, it was not there.
I know you Zite, you in your team, you always want the diamond.
The diamond, yeah. But because you see, at times you would see a boy going to cover on the wide spaces.
They can be
no
in
one
the same
to come,
position.
Yeah, no one to come and help out. Where because if Boyd goes wide, someone else has to come down to come and help.
Okay, I'm just thinking, let's just be fair to Zanaco now. When they meet at training, I'm sure they met today for recovery training. What should have Numba Mamba said?
For me, I think the best was to maybe...
Tactically, because when it comes to the recovery issue, what exactly should he be saying? And were there limitations on the day against Green Buffaloes to actually read the riot act from the touchline and say, gentlemen, I'll bring down the wrath of God if you're not dropping?
Because Zita, you always come with smiles when you win and you meet the following day. It's all smiles. Even the training itself, when you start your training, you know that at least we won, this is what happened, we played well. But when you lose the game, it comes back to, like we were always told, to go back on the drawing board. And if you look at the way they played, they've lost, I think, 2 games, even the one
back
they
to
lost
back against Nkwazi.
Yes. So they've gone back again to the drawing board to say, which system now are we gonna use? Because we've tried this system which is not working. Because I thought that same system for them to be playing long balls, they were trying to see if they can get early goal and maybe a lot of goals, for them to be comfortable. Right. Which is not working for them.
All right, let's just take stock of the tactical reactions that Numba Mamba made in this game. The first thing he did was to bring on Isaac CHANSA in the 34th minute. So let's just have a look at Isaac CHANSA in the Zanaco attack and what it actually brought to the fore. Same thing, gentlemen. Same thing. Isaac CHANSA playing in front of course, Richard Kasonde put on the bench. So Boyd Msonda becomes the defensive midfielder and Isaac CHANSA takes up the position that Boyd was taking.
Yeah, for me there was actually no change, despite Isaac bringing in a lot of experience. But I thought it was all the same because they were in a straight line, like making a spine, a spine. The number 4, 5, number 6, number 8, number 9, number 10. It didn't make any change. Still, Buffaloes had 5 players in the midfield.
In midfield.
Yeah, and Zanaco had only 2.
So he needed to change the formation at that point. Not necessarily the substitution.
He changed he brought in the experience, but not changing the
system.
System.
So not necessarily.
So what did the experience do?
It didn't help them.
Yeah, because he didn't change the system. If you had to change the way Buffaloes play, bringing in players in the midfield, congest the midfield so that they don't play in the midfield, force them to play long as well.
And if you look at the same game, Zite, it's like the guy went in now. It was like a punishment for him, because if you saw the way he was running from the midfield up there trying to get a goal, he also trying to talk to the players. Sometimes these players, when they are playing with someone who is got experience, sometimes you wonder they don't want to learn it from him. Looking at the way he is commanding in the game, his movements, because you saw he made mistakes because he wanted to change the game itself, but not alone, of course, himself. He needed someone also with it.
Okay.
Such.
In summation, Numba Mamba further brought on Julius Stumbeko and Charles Zulu, in addition to Isaac CHANSA, as we have taken note of. So let's look at Zanaco's attack after the 3 substitutions that were actually made by I think. So they get the ball. George Lufia is already. I'm just thinking maybe this could have been the game plan. Already Charles Zulu is running towards the 18. Henrietta Nkonko is running. Augustine Mlenga has to play as a striker. He's running forward. Julius Tumbeko is trying to stick and see, okay, should I go, should I stick or twist? And you have Boyd Msonda Big man Isaac, wait, let me go as well. Cover for me. The long ball comes. Buffaloes win the second ball. And Zanaco are back defending again. And it was very uncomfortable, the amount of space that the Buffaloes players had before they could find the next Zanaco defender.
I think this is what we talk about. When I was a player, I never used to understand this. Keep the shape. After Buffalo scored, Zanaco changed the system. Instead of playing the usual game, it just changed. The defender, maybe the number 3 or number 2 has the ball. The whole front line, they start running up. But I think I give credit to the young boy, Julius. I think he still has that mentality of playing at power. You don't just break that thing. You hold a bit, you wait for the ball to reach the top man, and then you go and support.
I'm just thinking, I'm just looking at the statistics. Well, Zanaco put in 11 crosses in this game. Only 1 came from a wing. Augustine Lang. The rest we had Boyd Msonda putting in a cross. Okay. Even Msonda there. So for the wingers, those were playing wide. Only 1 cross apiece out of 11. The rest were as a result of Boyd Msonda running from central wide, puts in a cross, or half cross from the center circle area. Chongochira floats, Taonga floats.
And Zanaco like, because the way that Zanaco plays, go and watch them at their training ground. Most of the training sessions is based on the wing play. Winger put in a cross, they go and finish. But I was surprised this time that maybe winger, I think from the past. So
if you are playing wing play, sorry to cut you. If you are playing wing play, you should therefore play 4-4-2.
That's
and not 4-2-4.
That's where the confusion is coming from. Because if you look at their attack, just from the defense midfield and to their strikers, every time when you are facing the ball, I don't see a team that can score like that, because you always want to receive the ball direct from your defender. I'm sure it also killed them. No wonder you could see Jack Chirwa shining in the midfield there, because everyone was running, leaving the ball behind, but Jack Chirwa could just wait for their mistakes, and he at least got advantage of it, which gave them a goal. If you saw the way the movement was, the way they scored the 2 goals, Buffaloes, it was organized from the midfield, defense, strikers. You know, they play as a team. But for Zanaco, it was not there.
Okay, let's have a look at Green Buffalo's short structure. So the victors 2-0 on the day, courtesy of goals from Friday, Samu, and of course Mike Kativa. So let's have a look at the short structure for Green Buffaloes. There we go. So yeah, again, they probably could have gotten more, Green Buffaloes, for the amount of leverage they had in midfield. They should have probably pegged Zanaco into their own half, forced them into playing into their own half. But yes, Zanaco could even afford to be fragmented. They would win some of the battles, float the ball back to their attack. But yeah, here goes nothing.
Yeah, I think Green Buffaloes was supposed to get even more goals than they got. On transition, Zanaco were pushing more men forward than at the back, and Green Buffaloes were very quick to make that counter attack.
Okay, let's look at the short structure for Zanaco Football Club, and yeah, let's try to put finality to this one and see how it's been. It's been a tough period for them, but yeah, there Yeah, Boyd on the strike balls, the spend efforts, only 4 on target for Zanaco. When you think about that, Vespa, it's not as bad as you people are alleging, eh?
Yeah.
Look at that activity there.
It's not bad, Zite. It's only that sometimes when you want to win the game, a lot of mistakes will come in, Zite. Look at these guys. They've lost this game. Yes, it's not that maybe we may say some players didn't play well, but sometimes if the discipline itself in the way they were standing, it made them even lose the game. Because if you are not like communicating, the communication also is important, Zite, especially with the defenders. They can talk to their midfielders. But of late, I've seen Zanaco. A few players can communicate with other players, but some, I don't know, maybe they are not allowed to talk. I don't know.
All right, let's have a look at Zanaco's next 5 matches and have a look at how the horizon looks for Numba Mamba and his men. City of Lusaka at home. They then host Napsa Stars. Then travel to Lumwana and go and await and go to Kabwe and play Warriors and play Lusaka Dynamos at home.
I think looking at the fixture.
They can still win the league, eh?
Yeah.
You should see that facial expression.
Yeah, I think just looking at the
next 5.
The next 5. Zanaco has always won in Lumwana. So they go to Lumwana, I know they will win.
Hey, it was only last year. When did Lumwana come to the Super League? And yeah, by the way, on that tip,
2 seasons,
on that tip, they hadn't lost to Buffaloes at home for more than a decade.
That's the thing. That's why I'm favoring Zanaco to get the...
wako ni wako. Once a banker. No, it's speechless.
Yeah, no.
Maybe you can say something.
Yes, Zite, of course. Looking at the remaining games,
next 5.
The next 5 games, I think they can win the remaining 5 games.
The next 5 they can win.
The next 5 games.
All of them.
All of them they can win.
I'm sure probably Numba Mamba will probably go
sits down and maybe makes some correction, especially on in the midfield there, because sometimes you may think you are too comfortable when you have players who are playing to the national team. When they come back, then you put them. It's also sometimes
so it's an issue. We'll talk about that one.